Welcome back to the Dragon's Library. Today we are going to be going over the new updates for Hiyuki and for Hiyuki and her Frostburn weapon here. And we're going to be talking about whether you should be pulling Frostburn, what makes this valuable to a player, or whether you should just be getting a different weapon. And then we're also going to be going over Hiyuki's kit with this info link that I have opened up over here. So let's go ahead and first start with Hiyuki. She is a Glacio Chafe main damage dealer. We already kind of learned this. She has her two forms and Frostbind / block. These are her materials. And then this is her skill upgrade mats. We've also kind of known these, but if you wanted to see them on their official website, here it is. And then Resonance Liberation damage. And Glacio Chafe, as we already knew, or well, we didn't know about the Resonance Liberation, but this Resonance Liberation is a good thing for us. This makes Linnae a quite viable support for her, even more so than she already was, because she boosts Resonance Liberation damage. So on release, Linnae is almost guaranteed to be her best in slot support, besides for one other character, which you will also probably run with her, especially if you're pulling her Sig, because her Sig is reliant on that character. But we'll get into that a little bit later. This is her basic attack here. And then this is it in her present self form. When dedicated is full heavy attack, Frostsplinter self becomes available. Hold normal attack. Okay, so this is just your basic. It's telling you to hold to get your heavy there. This is showing you some more of her kit with the foreclaimed self, mid-air, and normal attack here. This looks to be an enhanced basic attack. Oh. Or well, normal attack, flaming Sakura blade art. This is the heavy attack. This is another version of the heavy attack there. And now we're going down into her resonance skill. Casting this skill enhances the next basic attack, present self stage 3. Okay, so it has a few different stages of it you go through is kind of what you're seeing here. Because even though she has two forms, evidently there's multiple like sub-stages in between them. Kind of like how Amieth gets more skills and stuff as she goes through her 4 tiers. I'm assuming is what it's talking about. Okay, this looks to be like her resonance lib here, where she goes into her second form. Foreclaiming Inward Vision, available after casting heavy attack, deal Glacio Cat, and enter the free. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty much your stage switch. So this is like when Amiya switches into her robot. And then this looks to be the resonance lib that it says takes some of her life force and switches you back out. Hold Resonance Liberation to enter a charged state by continuously consuming Snowforge to deal Glacio damage. Okay. High attack damage there. And then this looks to be another version of her basic attack when she is in her secondary form. But as we can see here, she has a lot of extra stuff into her kit, which I think will lend to her being a very fun character to play. Because don't get me wrong, I like Amieth as a character, but she just kind of seems to be like on the opposite end from Amieth, where her combos are going to be a lot more complicated and have a lot higher skill ceiling, whereas Amieth is kind of innately a more, she has a much simpler combo on how you go through her, especially if you're doing the Mornier, Linnae, Amieth comp. That comp is just innately pretty easy, I would say, for most people who have it. While in Aya stance, perform basic attack, Glacio. Okay, this also blocks incoming attacks and then consumes 1 stack. Okay. So yeah, she's building up stacks when she's in the second form, and then this lets you consume those stacks with that special basic there. Everfrost domain, Glacio Bite. Well, Hiyuki is in the team. All resonators. Okay, this is talking about how she has bonus damage off of Glacio Chafe. Glacio Chafe and Glacio Bite are pretty much one and the same, but Glacio Bite scales slightly differently, but in essence, they are the same damage type. And then after you get up to 10 stacks, you remove 10 stacks to trigger Frostbind, which will freeze the enemy. Then this is her intro skill here. Deal Glacio damage. Considered Resonance Liberation damage. Apply 1 stack of Glacio Chafe on hit. In present self, canceling the skill towards 200 points of dedication. Okay, so this pretty much lets you, kind of like how Amieth lets you get partial tears back. This looks to be a very similar thing where it says it's pretty much going to be automatically getting you back to Foreclaimed Self Stage 3, making your combo quicker the second time through. We've kind of seen this before. This shouldn't be something that's too difficult to understand. Okay, outro skill. Let's go ahead and see what this is. Glacio damage dealt by nearby resonators other than Hiyuki on the team is amplified by 20% against targets affected by Glacio Chafe for 20 seconds. Okay, this looks like it's gonna be nothing super crazy. This will be nice once we actually get her full team comp where we have another Glacio unit on the team. But in her best team comp on release, which I will talk about here in a minute once we go back into the game, which I have open in the background, we're going to go ahead and talk about her best team comps, though I don't necessarily own all the characters for it at the moment. I might when it comes to it. I have a video where I'm going to be polling to see which characters I get once the update is live. Deal substantial resonance liberation damage. Yuki gains 1 stack of Snow Rose, stacks up 3 times, resonators trigger effect only. Okay, this is just generally going over everything that we saw up above in a bit more detail. If you guys want to read through some of this a bit more detailedly yourself, I will go ahead and link this in the comments. But I just wanted to go ahead and quickly cover some of this. I'm not going to go into everything in like explicit detail. I don't want to make the video super long. Even just doing what we did took like 8 minutes. I don't want to be sitting here for 20-30 minutes just on this part when I also would like to talk about the weapon, which I think is going to matter a little bit more to people. I think most people have already decided whether or not they want to pull Hiyuki, whether she was any damage type. She could have been Echo skill damage for all most people care. They just wanted Hiyuki as a character. So I don't think this part matters as much, except for when it comes to kind of knowing who she's going to work best with. Because I think if you want to pull Hiyuki, you've already decided you want Hiyuki. This is where all your anniversary pulls are going. Okay. Next, let's go ahead and talk about her weapon before I jump into the game and talk about the main alternative that I think will be quite strong. Okay, so as we can see here, this thing has the same stat blend as Emerald of Genesis, where it's your 587, your 24.3 crit. And now let's go ahead and look at its actual skill and ascension materials here. Okay, synchronization rate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's just going to show you the different percentages here. Attack is increased by 12% when the wielder applies Glacio Chafe damage. Glacio damage is amplified by 28%, and Resonance Liberation damage ignores 10% of the defense on target if the wielder is active. Glacio Chafe damage dealt to all targets is amplified by 20%. For 6 seconds. The effect can be triggered up to one time every 1.1 second. Only the strongest effect of the same name applies. Okay, that is looking pretty good. Man, I don't think it's gonna be too bad, but this is also innately just gonna be a whole lot stronger if you have Chisa, because this is going to scale up if you have higher stat counts of Glaciochafe, which currently are only achievable if you have Chisa on your team, meaning that Chisa is also going to be the other best in slot of what I believe is going to be her best in slot team on release, which is going to be Chisa, Lene, Hiyuki. And then we're also going to have some other viable team comps, which in my opinion, Lene and Mornier are going to be a decent team comp. Or there's going to be some other team comps that aren't going to be too bad, like Lene Shorekeeper is probably going to be third or fourth. And then there might be some other interesting mixed up team comps in there, but I think the main three are going to be Lene Mornier in the number 2 spot, Lene Chisa in that number 1 spot, and then Lene Shorekeeper in that number 3 spot. Is most likely how I think that's going to end up playing out. But let's go ahead and hop into the game now, so I can go ahead and talk to you about the weapons that I think are going to be better, or not necessarily better, but are going to be the closest to her signature in damage and are going to be less reliant or even stronger if you're going to be running the Lene Mornier team comp, because the Lene Mornier team comp is going to be boosting Resonance Lib and not Glaciochafe, meaning that the Glaciochafe buff that the weapon gives is not really going to be worth it for you. Let's go ahead and talk about it. It is a weapon I own, so I'm just going to go ahead and show it to you right here. It is EOG. Now, this is not a rank 0 EOG, but as you can see here, 587, 243, but this is also giving you as energy regen, resonance skill, and attack. This is a very generally good weapon, and if I had to take a guess, this is probably going to be her second best weapon on pretty much every team in the game, and this might even be better than her Sig, as I said, on Lene and Mornier. So I would go ahead and test out EOG on the teams and see which one feels better, or watch other people's videos who do so. But I would almost bet you this is probably gonna be all most players are gonna need. It's better for you to be trying to pull Chisa or save your pulls for Denya for Amieth's team here than it is to be pulling their Sigs in almost every case I can imagine, unless you already own Chisa, in which case it might be worth it to pull her Sig for you, because her Sig is a pretty decent boost in all likelihood if you already do own Chisa. But that is the pretty much main weapon I wanted to talk about. There is one other sword that might be decent called Feathered Edge, which is a purple sword, which I currently do not own. So let me go ahead and see. I'm pretty sure it's collections, right? Where is those at? It's gallery. Okay, weapons, and then let me go ahead and go down here to swords. That's broad blades. Okay, this is swords, and then we're looking at Feathered Edge here. This one may also be a decent free-to-play option, but because it has such low attack, it's probably in all likelihood just going to be better for you to go with Emerald Genesis here, because EOG is pretty free-to-play friendly. It's a standard banner weapon. It's not hard to get. This is what I'm going to recommend to pretty much everybody unless you're a hardcore player. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and just say this one more time for anybody who wanted to skip to the end of the video and just wanted like this quick rundown here. If you have Chisa, the Sig is going to be worth it for you. If you don't have Chisa, do not pull the Sig, until you've already pulled Chisa. Otherwise, the SIG is going to be practically worthless to you. It might even be a downgrade if you do not have Chisa on your team. Okay, that is pretty much everything I wanted to cover. So if you guys want me to talk about any more of the reveals when they happen and go live, go ahead and tell me down in the comments. Or if there's any other topics you would like me to cover, if you've made it this far in the video, please like and subscribe. I do pretty low edited content that's down to earth. There might be a few cuts here and there, but I normally don't stick anything super special in there, at least not yet, just because I'm the person editing the videos and I don't really have the time to be putting all that extra flair in it. And I work a pretty much full-time job. I'm getting like 35, 40 hours a week, so I don't have too much extra time, at least not right now. And then I'm going to be full-time college student here soon. So I don't really got too much extra time for that, but I like trying to bring these videos for you guys whenever I can. I do really enjoy doing this, so any support is greatly appreciated. Now, have a great day.